Greetings, everybody. Patrick here, 8 Questions With, and welcome to the show. I know, right? A matinee show at that. We were supposed to be here yesterday, but we had to push it back to today, which is no big deal. I'm glad to do it. Our guest will be here in about 15 minutes or so. Um, Erin Michele Soto will be here, and can't wait to talk to her. Uh, the Cheetah and I have been watching Studio City, and we're hooked. Studio City, Studio City's the jam. uh, hey, Matthew, how are you, sir? We are doing good. We're doing good. We're looking forward to seeing and meeting Erin Michele Soto. She starred in a digital series that was created by Sean. You might remember Sean from his time on General Hospital or the Young and the Restless. He also played Mike Barnes in the Karate Kid 3 and the series, and he created a series called Studio City, and man, it's pretty damn good. It's really good. It's entertaining as hell, and Aaron plays one of the. It's basically it's he basically Sean Kanan says this is basically a love letter to his career in soaps, and we're seeing some of how soap operas run. It's really a fascinating look, and I'm really what really impresses me is the director Timothy Woodward is a action director. He does a lot of action movies. I've seen several of his movies. In fact, Aaron Michelle was in one of the movies called Silencer that I watched, and our good friend Mike Ferguson was in that movie. And so I was like, "Oh wow, this is really cool." But hey, what's going on? Good, good. How you doing, Eden? Hey, what's going on with where's the Phillies? Where's the Phillies Karen at? Man, I know all of our Philly fans were like, "Oh hell no." Yeah, well, as long as we have Mark Leiter on our team, we'll probably lose. I have never seen a pitcher go from halfway decent to absolutely just nothing, absolutely nothing. JT is here. JT, aka the Nat, representing the Midnight Society. And yeah. So Aaron Michelle had was in the Silencer, and then she went ahead and was cast as Christina on Studio City. I'm perplexed. This is one of the questions I guess I want to ask her. The series is fire. It really is. You don't even have to be a soap opera fan. Like I don't watch soap operas. Um, I've watched a few in the day though. I can't sit there and tell you I haven't because back in the '70s, I used to sit there and watch Deidre Hall. I mean, who didn't, right? Um, yeah, man, that lady. I mean, she's no one taught her about baseballs. Baseballs are first come, first serve. They don't come to you if you're sitting in your seat, and they come to if it comes to you, if it comes in your area, it doesn't mean that you get it. It just means you have a better chance of getting it by scrambling for it, more than not. But yeah, that was really I felt really bad for her, and I think that some baseball fan should have walked over to her and said, "Listen, short of you putting your hand over the outfield wall, baseball's fair game. Until you can secure it, baseball is open. I mean, it's like that's how it goes. Once someone has the ball in their hand like this, that's when the game ends. Whoever has the ball gets the ball. There's no like, okay, I caught the ball, now I got to give it to the person in this seat in this row here. No, you get it, you keep it. Um, hey Anthony, how are you? You go heading over to the library. You know what? It seems like whenever I put up a library video, I do get that. I do get a lot of people saying that they're gonna be heading over to the library. Yeah, I get it. Um, that's one thing I was bummed out at. I'm gonna hopefully we'll talk with Erin about this. Um, I'm hoping, because I was watching the series, Studio City, and I'm not sure if it was designed this way or not as a limited series because there's only 14 episodes. I was like, wow, I'd like to see a lot more of this, but I'm not sure how it goes. It was really, you know, it was a really good series. Had a lot of old school soap opera stars that I knew when I was growing up. Tristan Rogers was in it. He played Scorpio in General Hospital. One of the best characters ever created for a soap was Scorpio. Man, Tristan Rogers absolutely owned the role. Um, man, it was, you could still see, even though he was probably sick when he was filming this, he's probably sick because he died earlier this year of lung cancer. Didn't smoke, did not smoke. He died of lung cancer at 79, but you can still see some of that Scorpio fire in his face. Um, he's still in his mannerisms. You can still see it. I mean, soap operas, they're always known as all romance, but they're starting in the late 70s, going into the 80s, they upped their game. They would have super secret agents and intelligence agents and you know undercover cops, and I mean it was more like a TV series than it's just a soap opera with romance. So soap operas up their game a bit. uh yes, Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard. Yes, Maurice Bernard is probably, yeah, he is this generation's leading man, that's for sure. And Sean Kane is still he's still acting in soap operas. In fact, he's that's one good thing about a soap opera too, is that a lot of times it has so much freedom and flexibility as far as the actors go. An actor can come on there, work for a couple of years, scratch that itch of working every day, and then maybe make enough money to turn around and sit there and say, okay, I'd like to put my character, make my character, put my character in the insane asylum, and I'll see you in a couple of years, and then go do whatever they want to do. Um, some will stay all the way through. Eric Braeden, a lot of people, they know him from The Young and the Restless too. Even though that he was a big star back in the '60s, he was one of the leads in the Rat Patrol. That's how I knew him before the soap opera. When I saw him on the soap opera, I'm going like, "Hey, that's the guy from the Rat Patrol, Victor Newman." That's right. That's right. Look at Jerry. Hell yeah, represent Jerry. Yeah, Victor Newman is probably and Maurice Bernard, Eric Braeden and Maurice Bernard are probably the two leading ones. Um, Melody Scott Thomas, of course, that's Nikki. That is probably the ultimate super couple. Excuse me, stewardess. I speak super fan. Uh, that's probably the ultimate couple, super couple in soap opera, probably soap opera history. I mean, you could make a case for that. And it's strange though. It's strange watching them age along with us, in real time. I mean, when I started watching the Young and the Restless, you know, Eric Braeden was, and I got to mention this too. Eric Braeden also was in Titanic. He played, I want to say he played the Vanderbilt. Um, he didn't have a very big, he didn't have a lot of speaking lines, but he definitely could see he was good in the role in his role that he had. He was very good at it. And I remember that. I cannot dismiss that. Um, I thought it was great. I thought it was great that he got a chance to do a movie like that. Too many times, soap opera stars they get typecast. That's all they can do. Sean Kanan managed to break that. when he did Karate Kid 3. You know, people knew him both as AJ Quartermain, who was a troublemaker. Uh, are you guys impressed that I know this shit? Come on, give it up for me. Give it a chat. Give it up. I'm talking soap opera with you. Um, yeah, he played AJ Quartermain, and his character was a bit of a troublemaker. But then he did Karate Kid 3 as Mike Barnes, and and he did some movies too. He did some movies. Um, but the cool thing, like I said before, with soap operas is you could go ahead and create a character, act it for a couple of years, get a couple of juicy storylines, act for a couple of years, and then go away and do some other things. And then when you want, and based on the fans, because the fans really do rule soap operas. I mean, they dictate. Some of the actors, they dictate those actors' fate. If you got someone coming in to take Sean's place and they're not cutting the mustard, the fans will definitely let you know. They're very passionate, much like as horror fans or wrestling fans. They'll let you know it, right? Like, that's not really, they're not doing as good job as Sean is. They're not doing nearly as the good job as Aaron is doing. So, uh, so what that does, it allows the character to come back in a couple of years. Sometimes they kill off the character. I've seen that happen too, where they've killed off a certain character, and then after the actor has left the soap for a couple of years, 2, 3 years, they'll bring them back, but just give them a new character to play. And so people and fans just don't they really don't care. They just want to bring back. Maybe they don't like the character. I don't like that character. That he's playing. Okay, we'll get rid of him, and then we'll wait a couple of years and bring on another, bring him back, him or her back, and yeah, and restart it. So it's a very Studio City is very, very interesting. It's a show within a show. Um, Sean and Aaron, they play an on-screen couple. He plays Dr. Pierce Hartley, and Aaron is playing Anastasia. And happens to be cheating on the good Dr. Hartley too. So soap operas, right? But yeah, it's very interesting, and I've been watching it. The only thing I'm bummed out about it is it's only 14 minutes. It's only 14 episodes long, and it has won a lot of awards. It won a lot of awards, and my main question, I guess, to Aaron is, are they going to bring it back? I know it's been a couple years since the last new episode aired, but is that because of everybody's schedule, or are they going to bring it back? I mean, because there's a lot of questions in the air when it left. So let's see, Victor Newman. That's right, Victor Newman. Yes, that was before he did soap operas, Jerry. I don't think he joined the Young and the Restless till, I want to say, the 70s, in the late 70s, maybe the early 80s. And then again, and it's really interesting is that no matter what, and no matter how long it took, it was always going to be Victor and Nikki. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? How are you? Um, we are awaiting our guest. Um, uh, uh, okay, Aaron will be here shortly. Yeah, that's one thing I have to sit there and say too about Studio City, is the fact that, like soap operas, they always cast the really good looking people. I mean, when you guys see Erin, you saw the picture of Erin already, for my banner. When she gets here, you'll notice that she's just drop dead gorgeous. Definitely. I'm very excited to know that she was in Silencer. I mentioned that Timothy Woodward had directed Silencer. I've seen a few of his projects. I've seen Silencer, and which is a really good movie. Silencer is a really good movie. It's a really good action thriller movie, but it has a lot of heart, lot of heart. One of my favorite action movies ever. And she also was in Checkmate. No, Timothy Woodward directed Checkmate, and that movie is badass. That movie is way wicked cool. Um, they used to sell both those movies at Dollar Tree, but Dollar Tree doesn't sell those anymore. But they were staples. Most of the they get new DVDs in. A lot of the times I would see those movies, in the shipment. I have both of them, so I was, but yeah, if you get a chance to check out Checkmate or Silencer, I highly encourage you to do so. If you're an action movie fan like I am, um, so that's cool. I'm pretty happy that you guys knew about soap operas. You guys are really impressing me today. That's pretty cool actually. Um, and Erin Michelle, she has done a lot of cool things as well. She's actually going to be ready to do she's actually getting ready to do a Christmas movie, a Slippery Slope Christmas, which I really, really hope it's a Hallmark movie. I really hope it's a Hallmark movie. Yes, Jerry. Gosh, you are on fire today, my friend. Yes, Tito Ortiz is in it, along with Johnny Meisner. That and Robert Lasardo is in there. That was the first time I really saw Robert Lasardo, like because he played a very, very honorable bad guy, but he had honor. It was a very cool part. Tito Ortiz was excellent. Wow, I was so blown away. Chuck Liddell, yeah, he played a puss. He definitely was. Yeah, his character was a puss. But Tito Ortiz, Johnny Meisner, um, and Johnny Meisner, he's the one that beat up Mike Ferguson. Mike Ferguson was the bartender with the hat. He's the one that came over and beat him up a little bit. And I always tell Mike, this man, you got to get your revenge in one of these movies. You got to get revenge. But yeah, Silencer was really, really good. Like I said, you don't really think of that when you think of an action movie as having heart, but sometimes it does. Silencer had heart. Another movie that had a lot of heart to it was one of my favorite Bruce Willis movies. Like I like Die Hard and Die Hard too, but I didn't have a connection with that movie, with those movies. You know what I'm saying? It's like I watched it, it was like cool, but I didn't have, I didn't like it didn't stir me like Tears of the Sun did. Like when I watch Tears of the Sun, man, I get choked up with that movie because that movie had heart. It really was just a beautifully made film. And I feel the same way with Timothy Woodward, how he makes his films. So I'm not really shocked, when I saw his name attached to this and he was doing the directing. I wasn't surprised at all. It was like I know some people, if I saw Michael Bay's name on a soap opera, they fall over. But no, he has a real flair for it really makes Studio City pop too. And the cast of that series is, like I said, it's second to none. It's really strong. Um, it has Carolyn Hennessy in it. I love Carolyn Hennessy. She was the star of Saint Agatha. There she is. Hi, Erin Michelle. How are you?
I'm doing well,
You got
Patrick. How are you?
great. We have a bunch of guys in here talking soap operas.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're just yeah. I was just talking about Studio City, and man, Dr. Harley, man, he should have been keeping an eye out for Anastasia.
Well, I mean, it happens. My character. I just had a tough time for. I just got to go for people that felt a little more like my my character just needed people a little bit more my age.
Uh, we're definitely getting some people saying hello. Our friend Cheryl is here, and she's saying hello to you. That's thank
Hello.
you so much for that. I was tickled. When I watched Studio City, I mean, all of us here were Sean Kanan fans because of Mike Barnes from Cobra Kai. I aging myself here, but I remember watching him as AJ Quartermain in General Hospital. So my mom used to watch the show, and I know who AJ was, and then we were talking about yeah, because the series Studio City, it's chock full of great soap opera actors. Now,
Yeah.
have you done a soap opera? Have you ever starred in one?
I have not. This was a really cool experience for me because it was the first time I came onto the show, and it was my first experience working with so many people who've worked in the soap world. So, I mean, they've all worked on so many soap operas, and it was just such a new experience to me. So it was really cool. And, meeting Sean Kanan, who's been on, he was the creator of the show, and just, getting to know a lot more about the soap world, and then working with Carolyn Hennessy. I mean, just everyone. It's just been a really cool experience.
Carolyn Hennessy, she's a hoot. Is she like that in real life? How she is when she acts? Is that
Yeah.
Carolyn Hennessy?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah. No, she's definitely, she has very strong opinions about things, but in the best of ways. Very, very big, like, oh, like very big heart.
I love watching her act. She calls all her fans tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
You know that? Yeah. Whenever she's on social media, like I met her when I was on Twitter, and she would call her fans tomatoes. And I thought that
Tomatoes.
was
Okay.
I thought that was the cutest thing, you know. So it
Yeah.
says, "Greetings, how are you? How are all my tomatoes doing today?" And then we just start talking to her, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Uh, Jerry, our friend Jerry Wilson, man, he knows soap operas. He says, "Hello, Erin. You look so beautiful."
Thank
Yeah,
you.
definitely, definitely. Um, were you intimidated when you went onto the set of that? I mean, with surrounded by, did you know any of the soap opera actors before you were cast as Anastasia? Did you know anybody other than Sean that had done
Thank
soap operas?
Thank goodness I did not. And I actually, I didn't know. It was an interesting experience how I came on the show, and I didn't know Sean ahead of time. I was brought on to the show, came on, was cast, was brought on, and then I was originally just brought on for a few lines, and so I wasn't brought on for this huge role, or this role that just kept on going. So, it was just sort of one of those things where I had this small part, and then they liked me, and it just kind of kept growing. So, it wasn't one of those things where it was like, um, all of a sudden I was auditioned for this big thing. It was just one of those things where it just kind of kept going, and I was so excited. But it was just, I guess, it was unfolding to me.
I was just thinking how much fun it would have been just to act off some of the true giants, like Tristan Rogers,
Oh my
and
gosh, yeah.
Patricia Darble, and Carolyn, of course. It was just really, really cool to see, the show within the show, to
Hmm.
see how it really works. Sean said that when he wrote it, he created it. it was like a love letter to his career, like his soap
Yeah.
opera career. I thought that was really, really cool. And
Yeah.
I have actually seen you before. Um, I didn't realize this, but
Mhm.
you had done Silencer.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, we're hyping that movie up too. At least I mean, Jerry knows it too. Um,
Okay.
I was hyping up that movie. That movie's fire.
Yeah, thank you.
That movie's
Yes,
fire.
that's how. So Timothy Woodward was the director in the film, and I believe that that was how I was remembered, like potentially. And so I was in that film. I had auditioned for that film, and then maybe was remembered for that role, and then had gone in, and then there was this one, and then this role just kept growing. And so it's just, it just kind of goes, if you do a good job on one thing, maybe you'll be remembered for
Yeah.
another. I'm not exactly sure how things went behind the scenes, how this all happened, because I'm not there. But yeah.
Well, I mean, directors. I think directors are exactly like how you described. I think there's directors that sit there and they watch who they, who are the actors that are doing their jobs, and they're probably watching how they conduct themselves off set as well. And I do believe there are a few directors that have, like a list of people that they want to use, because of their talent level and who they are personally. Like I could work with this person. I mean, it doesn't matter to be super talented, but be an asshole at the same time. Nobody wants to work that. People will forget that you're talented if you're not a nice person. um so I'm not, I believe directors keep those, keep that list, and like, this is a project I think that Erin Michele would do really well in. I'm gonna Since I'm directing it, I'm gonna go ahead and let the casting director know, like, this is someone I'd like to at least be seen, at least audition for it.
Mhm.
And it works, it really does. How it's amazing. I've heard so many actors here say, like, you never know who's watching. You just never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So now, before we get any further into that, because I want to talk a little bit about Silencer, and we do have a mutual friend. I'm not sure if you met him, but but I have a friend of mine who actually did that movie, um, and actually been on the show. Actually, two actors. We had Robert
Yeah.
Lasardo on the show, and we had Mike Ferguson on the show.
Okay.
Remember,
They're mutual friends, like, social media friends, but I actually don't know them. Who's the first person? Sorry?
Robert Lasardo.
Robert Lasardo. No, I actually don't. Probably like social media connection, maybe industry, but the second
Yeah.
person, I know that we've connected multiple times on, like, we have a lot of industry. I know who that person is, but we don't. I don't think we've ever worked together or anything. But yeah.
Just didn't do any scenes together. But yeah,
Mm-mm.
he played the bartender, and yeah, I don't remember him. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think there was any scenes that you and him did, but you guys did the project together. Um,
Yeah.
it's so hard, isn't it? Is that's that because I asked one of the questions I asked an actress a very long time ago when I just started doing this, I always wondered, because every time you see actors talk about a project, you always
Mm-hmm.
hear them talk about how they were like a family. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a family thing, and then afterwards you think like, okay, so I mean, they must be best pals out of off, when the movie ends, but they're pals. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
asking an actor that is just like, I saw that, are you still do you call them up? Do you have their numbers? And I go like, no, not really. It's like once the movie's over, we wrap and then we all go our separate ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like high school where you sign your yearbook.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel some projects like the longer ones I've gotten, like some projects I've remained closer and some of them not as much. Studio City, I mean, I'm not always like calling everyone on the phone, like that sort of thing. But I mean, yeah, like it, went on for a couple years and that sort of thing. And I know people and am connected to people. And if I see people, I'm going to run up and be like, hi, like it's a really, I don't know. Everyone there is, I don't know, everyone there is like really special, I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Now, I guess the one burning question I have when I watched it, uh, it runs 14 episodes. Is it going to come back? I mean, did it stop because it wrapped, or did it stop because everybody else had other projects to do? Is Radio
I
City coming back?
ask Sean, ask the higher ups that question.
Oh,
um,
I thought they kept you on the loop, like, okay, we're gonna be coming back in 2025, just let you guys know, we're gonna start, we're looking to ramp up production again. I would hope that they would let you know, or, if that happened. I thought it was a really good series, and I was just like, that's all there is. There's only 14. They got to bring it back. The story's not over yet.
Yeah.
So
I mean, keep that energy going. I would love, for it to keep going and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are, working. We're all doing our different things. I'm doing
right.
a lot of Shakespeare. I just wrapped up being a host on a live game show in San Diego. But it's just, we're all doing lots of different things, but I'm sure, I mean, I'm not sure, but you know, it seemed like many people enjoyed doing the project. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So before we come back to that, and we're going to get to your hosting there, because that's interesting. I want to go back to the beginning and how you got started. That we always have to go back to the origin. So
Yeah.
how did you get your start as an actress?
Yeah, I get asked this question all the time, and I'm like, oh yeah, I started here, I started there, and then I was actually looking at some baby photos recently, and I was actually creating characters, even as like a little like baby. I don't know if I could speak yet or not speak or anything, but I was dressing myself up in full on costumes before I knew what acting was. And
Right.
I'm talking about like movie star glasses with like these outfits and characters. And then I had older male cousins who would go out and play like army and stuff like that. So I had like a day where like my parents took this picture of me and I had like covered myself head to toe in mud. Like I'm talking about full face. And I'm just standing there like, because I thought that I was like, I'd gone out and played army with my cousins who are like much older than me. And so like I had just, I was just being like them because, there's no gender when you're a little baby. And
I, I'm,
so
was your first words, like, most babies' first words are papa or mama? Was your first words, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close up?
yeah, I actually don't know what my first words were, to be honest. Um, yeah, I'd have to ask my parents. I don't know what they were.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I really have no idea.
Ask your parents, and don't be surprised when they sit there and say, "Yeah, your first words were makeup." So, so don't be shocked.
Yeah, I did. I did. Like I loved making my own like costumes, and I'd like write my like we had. I'd put on plays and do things with my friends and stuff like to the point where they were just like, "Can we stop doing plays?" Um,
Oh,
like I loved doing all of those just making up plays and doing things and stuff like that. So yeah.
now, did you keep doing that as you got older? Did you transfer that to, like, elementary school, where we did the school play, and, like, I played a carrot, in the back row. Did you
Mhm.
do that, or did you pick it up in high school, or afterwards?
So I did a play. So I did my first like school play when I was 7. I started doing, I started dancing when I was 2. And my mom put me in dance lessons because she was a ballet dancer. She was a ballet instructor. And so I did that, but then I myself chose acting and I did my first play when I was 7. I did some musical theater And then my parents had me diversify, and I did a bunch of sports and other activities and things like that because they wanted me to, try everything. And I did try everything. I tried a lot of different things, which I feel is, I guess it's important to try different stuff to know, who you are and who you want to be and like that sort of stuff.
Right.
And then I ended up fully circling back because it just kind of kept coming back. But I fully circled back and, went to school and did all of that for it.
But they did you a great service because when when they had you diversify, when you started doing that, by the time you circled back, your acting toolbox was full of skills that you didn't have when you first started out. There's a lot of things
Mhm.
what to do, how to do it, and then you can apply it to your acting. So I mean, they probably knew from the beginning, right, Aaron? They probably go like, "Yeah, let's get her out there playing baseball. Yeah, we know her. We know she's going to play baseball, but damn well tonight she's going to be out there rehearsing or something like that."
They were
But
like anything but acting, please.
oh, is that what it was? But
Yeah, they wanted me
so
to be a doctor or, you know.
well, now you can sit there and say, I'm a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV, uh,
So, yeah.
how now do you take that to now that you started acting in elementary and then they saw that you were serious about it. Oh, hey, Steve, our good friend Steve is here along with his good buddy and our good buddy, Lucas Boy, which is the best Labrador ever.
Hello.
Uh, and yeah, that's great. Thanks for coming in, Steve. I appreciate that.
Thank
Um,
you.
now to your parents saw that you were dedicated to being an actor. They probably realized that, hey, this isn't fly by night.
Mhm.
Erin Michele really wants to do this. So once they realize that, do they throw their full support behind you?
Their support is they just want me to be safe. They want me to be happy, that sort of
Yes.
thing. They're just deeply concerned on like just my life, my happiness, my safety, that sort of thing. Can I have a roof over my
Yeah.
head? So, any parental um, happiness and concerns.
You know what though? I don't blame them. I mean, that's exactly what a parent's supposed to do, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it could be a little sketchy out there, right? We
Yeah.
both know that. We both know that it could be a little sketchy. I mean, people offering parts or ambushing you when you get on set with some unexpected demands. You know, people want to photograph, or they want to, people get too close that have no right getting too close. There's a there is a shady side to the business as well. Um, so after you got out of, did you do acting in high school as well, or did you
I
pick up after?
didn't. I did a lot of, I did the whole, that was when I was doing the whole roundabout loopy loop everything in life. I did do some acting, but I wasn't like deeply in, it wasn't my main focus. So stuff popped up, but it wasn't on the forefront. So yeah.
Our good friend Mike, also a interviewer. He's from the UK. He also does interviews and reviews. Our good friend Mike is here, and he said hello to you as well. Everybody's saying
Hello.
hello to you. Everybody's noticing that. I don't even get that. Most of the time, it's just Patrick, but everybody's coming in here waving the flag and saying, "Yo, Aaron, what's up?" So
Yeah.
I'm glad about that.
Hello.
So see, look at
I'm
that.
like, I don't
Um,
know. I can't see all of you, but hello.
can you on your it should say if you hit comments, do you have like a little comment button?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, hit that,
Yes.
and then you'll be able to see everything.
Oh, I, yes. Hello.
Oh, there you go. So now we got out of high school. Now, did you have the acting fever coming out of high school, or this is no, this is what you wanted to do, and what steps did you take as far as getting your first role in acting?
Yeah. I
As a
mean,
working actor.
it was always there. Like I did some, people would be like, hey, let's film this, or hey, am I doing this? Or I would, I was acting here and there, but it wasn't the first thing that was prioritized in my life. Um, it really hit when I was in school and I was fully choosing, okay, what do I want to be? Where do I want to go? What do I want to be? You know, and putting that in the thought. And I guess when I really sat with myself and dug into like, where does my heart belong? And it took an instructor to really allow me to choose me and where I want to be, and really said, hey, you like have talent, you can do this, you can, you know, like gave me that go. I was like, wow, okay. And then I ended up getting some scholarship money in acting and performance. And I was like, okay, that really just gave me some validity. And then I ended up getting some more scholarships to train in the summertime with some companies. And so it was just, it just really validated, okay, you know, I, I have this. And also, you know, I did get some good training growing up. Like my parents, like they did, you know, they did put me in some great like artistic training schools growing up and stuff like that. So, you know, I had like a lot of, I don't know, great training ground before that.
What was it like when you went to your first class, and here you walk in and you see other actors with you, your peers, and then you got on stage for the first time in front of your peers. It's a whole different animal from performing in front of an audience, but now you're performing in front of people doing what you're doing, saying, at the same level. What was the first time that you did that, and what did you do? Did you have to do like a dialogue at first, when as a way of introduction?
The first time I was in class with my peers, it felt like,
You're home.
yeah.
Yeah, great feeling. Great feeling.
And I was like, oh, okay. And it felt so supportive. It felt so like, okay. And it felt like, even if you, like, even if I failed, it was okay because like everyone is there to like everyone else is scared too. Because it's like at first, I mean, you find out that your instructor is like on your side too, but they're meant to be kind of the other person at first who's like I don't want to say the enemy, but the one who's, you have to have some resistance.
Right.
So at first there's the resistance, and then you're all in there together. Like, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I don't want, I don't know anyone, and that sort of thing. So at first it's like, okay, but it was so cool to just like actually feel like, wow, I belong somewhere. Like, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, and then you get on stage for the first time, and the instructor has you, maybe introduce yourself, or do a scene from a play, or, doing something like that in front of your peers. And I think the first time you do it, the first couple of times you do it, does the fear go away? And now it's just like, it goes away, and you just sit there and say, okay, I belong here, and this is how I'm going to do it. And then next thing you know, you're just going forward. Was it like that for you? Because I can't see you being, sitting there for like the first quarter, the first semester, being scared. I see you maybe coming in there the first time you got up there and had to do it. Maybe you had a case of the nerves, but after that, no, I think you were right at home. Is that
Yeah,
a fair assessment?
there was always the sense of nerves. I remember feeling at home. I feel like, I don't know, it was definitely in various classes. There was different, like different type. It just depend on each like different types of class. Like, for example, singing class, I was always the most scared and the most, because like I was, the least experienced and weakest, like I wasn't a singer or anything, but I always got a lot of support from my peers when I had to do that and go sing and, fail really hard. um, and that sort of thing. But it was really fun, or like musical theater class. But then it was really rewarding because I got so much stronger at it.
Right.
So it was good, and I'd like be shaking the entire time, especially when we had to do our solos. um, so that was hard, or like the time, like my instructor, literally, I wasn't singing loud enough, so they had me stand all the way in the back of the room, like way in the back, and they played the music as loud as they could because I wasn't singing loud enough. And so until my vocals pushed to the end of the theater. So, stuff like that where they just like force you out of your comfort zone and, do things, but like your peers are literally like right there. So it's, I don't know, it's good.
Do you like that now? I mean, you mentioned earlier about musical theater. I mean, now do you feel confident about doing a musical play if someone asked you to audition for one or come play the part? I mean, you feel confident now that you could do a musical?
Gaining confidence is definitely something that I have to really push myself for and towards and all those different things. And it's like, okay. And then I have to imagine myself and be like, okay, it's one of those, okay, warm myself up, do all those different things, push myself, push the voice till it's the end of everything. It's work on the imagination, work on those different things, push the voice out, push through all those mental blocks, just really just keep pushing it past, anytime I hit those blocks, and then just go. And eventually it will free if I hit a block. Sometimes it's free, sometimes it's not. And like, that's those areas, but it's continually working, but knowing that like, I do have that voice and it is there.
I,
And yeah.
I bet you sing outside. I mean, just in your house or whatever. I have a
Mhm.
feeling you're not one of those shower singers like we all we all think we're superstars in the shower. But I have a feeling like you put on some musical theater music, and I'm sure you sing when you're by yourself.
I
I think
have definitely done it before and done some musical theater things. Yes, it's for sure, and I have been pushed a few times.
well, I'm gonna push you a little bit here. I'm gonna ask you what are your three favorite songs to sing?
um, I don't even. They change from time to time. Yeah, I mean, it's usually some musical theater thing, but I mean, it all depends on the mood, and if I'm in like a happy mood or sad mood or angry mood, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Okay,
And
let's go with happy. Let's go with your three happy tunes that you really enjoy. That'll help. That'll narrow it down a little bit. I can see you doing something like Chicago.
I would love to do Chicago.
I had a feeling about that. I'm sitting here looking at you. I'm going like, I can see you playing. I can see you playing
I mean, it's
Roxy or
not
Velma,
exactly the
whatever you said.
happiest, but
Yeah, I could definitely see you playing Velma or Roxy for sure. That would
yeah.
be yeah, that would be cool.
I'm
Uh,
probably more of a Roxy than a Thelma, but Thelma would be really cool as well.
I was yeah, what's funny is that Renee Zellweger, she was like that too. She had no musical background before she took that role. Now,
Yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones, she came from musical theater, so she was
Yeah.
totally at home with it. Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
it's a mezzo soprano. They're mezzo soprano parts, and I don't want to say easy to sing, but they're meant for dancer, singer, like vocals. And so it's more, I don't want to say easier, but they're very singable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that helps for someone. That probably helps with someone who doesn't have that much experience. You want to put, you don't want to put that pressure on them. Because not everybody's Sarah Brightman. You're not going to sit there and say, okay, why don't you sing Sarah's part? Well, wait a minute. I'm good, but I'm working up to that.
Well, it's more about the emotion and pushing it out.
So what was after? So now you're in school. I'm sure you enjoyed that. What are some of your favorite remembrance being in your acting class? And what were like the three best? What were the three best three pieces of advice that your instructor gave you on your journey that stayed with you?
Well, I've had multiple instructors going. I was really lucky and got to train with some really great people. Um, oh gosh. I mean, staying in your body, using your voice. Um, yeah, stay in your body, use your voice. What else? Just trusting yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so now we're coming to the good stuff. We're going to talk to you now walking on your first set. What was the first movie set or TV set that you walked onto? How did you get the part? What do you remember from the very first role that you won?
Um, I'll say one of the first memorable ones that was like, that's cool was in a world, um, Lake Bow. And that was really cool. I had auditioned, which was really weird. Like, there's not a whole lot of like where you show up and tape, but I actually showed up to a person and they had a camera and I taped, and it was this really strange. It felt like, I mean, it was one of those casting offices, but it was almost like a hallway casting off. It was a strange casting office. And so I showed up, there's a casting office, and I did the self tape for it there. And I looked at the sides and I read them, and something in me just said, I'm going to do a random California girl accent in this, like last minute. And I just thought that in my head. I just kind of like threw things away. And I put on this like, oh my God, like da 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 da, like just like I just made her super like ditzy.
Right.
And they were, I auditioned for one girl, made her super ditzy, just threw her away, acted totally ridiculous. And I was like, I liked that. And then I was like, something in me, I just had this like warm feeling. I can't explain it. But like, I was just like, they liked me. They liked me. And I left. And I don't know why, but I just had this really good feeling. And then I didn't hear anything for a few days. And they were like, hey, so they liked you, they booked you, but they booked you for a different part. And
Okay.
I was like, okay. And they're like, yeah, because I guess the girl who they booked for the other part, she was like already a huge series regular on a different show. So they ended
Oh,
up
wow.
going with like more of like a celebrity on that part, but they really liked me, so they booked me for another role. And so then we went and I filmed that part like 3 days later. And then I showed up to set, and I met Lake Bell, and I was so excited. I was so nervous. I got into like hair and makeup and all that stuff. And we got to improvise a bunch of different stuff. And I was like, this is really cool. And she's like, yeah, I really like that accent that you did, and like how you were. And I was like, that's so cool. And she's like, okay. And so she put me into, we got into hair and makeup, and I was with like two other girls. And I guess she had already known the two other girls, and I was the only person who she had like cast off tape. And so then we went to go improvise, and then I sat down and I saw this like, big camera, and I was so nervous that I sat there for like 2 seconds and I just kind of froze. And then she was like, hold on. She pushed everyone aside and she's like, Erin, I cast you because you were really good. And she was like, I loved how you improvised, how free you were, and what you did. And she's like, I'm giving you total freedom to do whatever you want. And that just
Wow.
gave me the freedom. I was like, no one's ever told me that before. I was,
That's
other than like in theater school. And I was like, okay, there's big cameras here. I can do whatever I want. That is so cool.
So you went from nervousness and anxiety to someone walk up there who recognized what you had.
Mm-hmm.
They recognized that you had the talent and you had the skill to do this and not to be scared. And so they just walked up there and he said, "Kick ass."
Yeah.
I wonder how many first time actors on a set get that kind of encouragement. Have you seen that before? Like, have you ever seen like a new actor come on set and having a hard time, and then the director, or the casting director walks up there and says, you're here because no one gave you anything. You earned this. This is your moment right here. Have you seen that on set? No.
I
Wow.
have not seen anyone like, no one's ever like given me or anyone else just like a quick, all it took was a 2-second pump up, like just like, you got this. And that's all I needed to free me up. And the whole day completely changed around. And
Yeah.
I was like, cool, I got this. Like, I earned this. I got this. I can do this.
Yeah. I love stories like that. I do. I love this story. I think it's absolutely great. Magic Smith has just walked into the room and he says, "Hello, Erin.
Hello.
Uh, glad you're here. Glad you're here." Uh,
Yeah.
um, so that's the first role you did.
Mm-hmm.
The first time you went on set. So let's go. Let's talk a little bit about some of the films and projects you've done, because you have a really nice body of work. I mean, this is a
Thank you.
this is this is a lot of fun going over this. And I was sitting there, and of course, the one thing that caught me was that you in one of the movies you're going to be doing in the future, a Slippery Slope Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So is that going to be a Hallmark movie by chance?
To my knowledge, it's their anticipation is for it to go to Hallmark. I don't exactly know where it's supposed to be landing, but to my knowledge of what the producers have been saying, that's the trajectory. Um, but I don't. I know that the way that it's written and the format and everything else, it's very Hallmark.
That's a good thing, because
Yeah.
we're sort of Hallmark fans over here. So
Okay. Yeah.
not, I know, right? Big burly guy. Yeah, but I love some Hallmark. Yeah. So I saw that as soon as I saw the title, that I'm going like, I have to ask her if that's going to be a Hallmark movie. And
Yeah.
sure enough, I would be cool to that would be cool to see. Great exposure too. Um,
Yeah, I was past that script and I was like, I'd love to do something kind of fun like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, because you've done some action movies. You've been in some action movies, and some horror movies. You know, what was the flow? How do you what genre do you like acting in the most? And how hard is it to build characters? Like, this is a first time question for me, but I know you have to build your character for every role you play.
Yeah.
But how do you do that in different genres? Like, is there anything different that you do to prepare yourself, like saying from a horror movie to a Christmas movie to a musical? Are there three different mindsets on how to build a character? I mean, you just can't use just the same toolbox for all three, can you?
No, I mean, I guess, for example, Shakespeare is my fate. I love doing Shakespeare. I love doing things for period pieces, things I can really dive deep into. That's stuff that I really, really love doing. I know that it's not always for every audience, and that's okay. It's just something that I love. I love doing history pieces, stuff like that. those, especially history pieces or pieces where I have to play real people, those require a lot of research,
Yeah.
a lot of care.
Yes.
And so definitely I'd have to approach those differently than something like a Hallmark movie, because a Hallmark movie, I'm not playing someone realness, most likely. Um, do I have to approach something differently? Yes, because in a Hallmark movie, things are a little bit lighter. Most likely I can go home and I don't have to like brush off the dirt or anything like
Right.
that.
Right.
Versus a horror or thriller, depending on who I'm playing, I might, there's Chekhov technique where you like have a little bit of a box where you take home, like you can kind of set a location on where you have the work start and where you have the work end. And I might use a little bit of that technique for something a little bit dark, versus a Hallmark movie. I may or may not need to use so much of that technique,
Right.
or just various techniques that I have in my toolbox of, I've studied Stanislavski, Chekhov, method, like all these different things, and using just kind of various approaches depending on what is necessary so that I can stay sane.
Is there a risk though to an actor from studying so different many techniques that is there a risk that you might start out as a checkup and then but then you might end up doing a Meisner and you sort of crisscross the wires? Is there a risk for that? How do you keep that separate? Like like doing Hallmark, probably okay. Let's not do that one because like you said. But you know what though? I will say this. If you look at Hallmark movies and you look at them and say they're light and they're fluffy,
Mm-hmm.
they are definitely. But to me, I think some of those are the hardest to do because it's like because I think it lulls you. It's just because I don't want to say I've never heard anybody say this, and I have a good friend who works in Hallmark, but I think sometimes an actor will come in there and is so comfortable that they just they sort of glide in on it, instead of giving their
Mm,
100%, they come up and maybe give it only 90% because it's just a Hallmark Christmas movie. But
yeah.
those are the tricky ones. Those are the ones where it's like you got to be careful about that because you got to make sure you give your effort, your A game on everything. Um,
Yeah. I don't think it's not paying attention to the stakes. There's a difference between stakes and paying attention versus, I feel like there's a difference between stakes and how things are versus other things. So, it's just, I mean, and I guess a Hallmark movie could deal with some really heavier stuff. You don't
mhm.
know, it just all kind of depends. And I have seen some Hallmark movies where maybe they are dealing with a really heavy breakup or a death or like all those different things. So I can agree with you that yeah, there is all of those things that are in there, and the audience doesn't see them as, you know, one way. Um,
Yeah, I tell people, like you watching Hallmark, and I sit there and say, "Have you watched their mysteries? Have you ever watched what?" I love mysteries. I love mystery shows. I watch
mhm.
them a lot, and pretty much got pretty good at pretty much guessing out the killer, right? It's like who
Yeah.
did. I got to tell you, Erin, I'm about 60% when it comes down to a Hallmark mystery. I'm wrong about 40% of the time, and I used to be all really good at that. But the writing and the level of the projects that they put out and they have people do, it's really risen. It's like it's
Yeah.
no longer. I think a lot of people, maybe within the industry, look at that like a vacation. Like I'm just going to go out there for a vacation or what have you. But
No. Yeah.
it's a very fast paced shoot schedule. It's
Yeah.
and the writing's really strong. I mean, it's but to me, if I'm an actor, I'm glad to see it. I'm always looking to be challenged, right? I mean, I'm sure you
Yeah,
look at every role you look at, and you go like, is this role going to challenge me? As an actor.
yeah.
So, um,
Oh no,
what?
I feel like it's just which technique to use.
Right.
So yeah,
What is your favorite technique and why?
I don't know if I have a favorite technique. It's more or less just how do I get into one character um, versus another at presently. Um, yeah. Um, Method I only utilize if necessary, or if it's like a simple tool of I just need to learn how to do this. So um, I'm least trained in method, but there are specific things of I do not. I need to learn how to. This person's a baker, so I might go learn how to bake cookies, stuff like that.
Uh, can you bake cookies?
I can bake cookies.
Yeah. There you go. Our new favorite actress right here. What's your are you pretty comfortable in the kitchen? I mean, can you cook and bake?
I'm okay. I'm decent in the kitchen. I'm more and less, I don't want to say I'm a lazy baker. It's more and less that I would love baking and cooking more if there was an automatic, I don't want to say dishwasher, but literal, like just no pans. No.
Uh,
um, if things were just automatically clean.
I thought the dishwashers today handle that sort of thing.
They do, but you still have to wash the pan.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's the
You just
pre-wash, the
right,
pre-wash
right,
before
right,
wash.
right,
So there's
right.
that whole thing, and I still have to do it daily. Like there's still it's still a thing. There's still stuff. So
Yeah, but the thing is, though, it's like when you and I were growing up, and Mom would make cookies, and she used the mixer, and then she handed us the mixer and had the dough on it, and we're all happy. I think today, that's all we did. We just did that. But I think today it's like, listen, if you want to have this with the dough on it, you got to make sure you got to wash it and the pan in order to get this. I mean, the art of the deal, the compromise. Uh,
yeah,
off the wall. But what's your favorite cookie to bake?
I'm best at the chocolate chip cookie, um, just because it's
It's the
the
best.
thing that my mom would make chocolate chip cookies every week. So that was the thing. So then I learned how to make them really well, and then I just kind of made my own versions of it.
Uh,
So I'm best at making chocolate chip cookies, but I have made variations of various types of cookie just because if you make the basic dough of like that regular dough, but then there's also like the white sugar dough, dough of that, and then
can
you
you
can change it around.
can you make macadamia white chocolate chip cookies?
I can. I mean, you just make the white sugar dough and then add in the other stuff and the macadamia, but
Okay,
I'm
okay,
not
just
as
let
perfected on it.
okay, letting the guys know that I know that we just said that she could bake a white macadamia. I know you guys are all lining up right now on the line to talk to Erin. You're gonna have to we'll put the agent's name out there for you later on. Uh, is that what do you like to do to relax before we get back into the movies? But what does Erin like to do when she's not in front of a camera?
It sounds weird. I'm like, I don't want to say I'm so basic, but I mean, I start off with like, uh, I mean, I start off with just matcha tea, like going out for a nice matcha with friends, talking, hanging out, that sort of thing. That's just on the very basic level. Coffee, matcha, that sort of stuff. And then just going out and hanging out like anywhere with friends, playing games, stuff like that. So that's my very basic thing. And then when I'm not acting, I'm still acting. I do like Shakespeare readings and stuff.
Um,
I'm such a nerd.
that's awesome. No, I mean, I've always wondered what the Steve is throwing up a chocolate chip cookie. Now, Steve actually might have something on the plate here because he has our unofficial mascot. He has a beautiful black Labrador named Lucas. I call him Lucas Boy. Beautiful dog, and I'm sure that if you baked a couple of dozen cookies, that he would send a signed autograph of Lucas Boy to you. That sounds like a trade to me, Steve. Um, so do you have pets?
I have a cat named Sherman. Yeah.
My favorite guest right now, all time favorite. If you can look up there, you'll see the cheetah. That's my pet. If you look on the upper corner there, you'll see him there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Paladin. So yeah, we're cat people here. Sorry,
Yeah.
Lucas. Um, so you have a cat and you like go out with your friends. It sounds it's not basic is good though sometimes, right? It's like normalcy is good. That's not a bad thing at all. It's a wonderful thing actually. You're settled, you're happy. I'm sure your parents are very happy with that too. Knowing that you're with good friends and you're doing things that you want to do on your own terms. So
I'm just
hats off,
normal.
hats off to your parents who like, hey, she's doing it right. Uh, a great idea. So I'm sure that we could probably arrange, like a trade off. Uh, uh, so let's get back to the action part. So I want to know the first action role that you took.
First
The
action
first,
role.
yeah, the first action and horror. Yeah, we got to talk about
Well,
those.
I have yet to do like a full action. I mean, I did um it's like, I mean, I haven't personally like done any fighting or action. I'd love to do like a DC Comics, or Marvel or something like that project. That
Mhm.
would be really fun. I did, technically it was earlier this year. What is it called? I am forgetting the name. Um, I
Has
played
it come out?
Dejana Dakin. Um, Golden Blood. There we go.
Oh,
I've
Golden.
done a lot of
Okay.
projects. So Golden Blood is the name of the project. And that the first action, or no, it was Silencer that was the first action. Yeah, that was action. I was like, was that action or was it, what do we call Silencer?
Yeah,
Is that action? Do
yeah,
you find that,
Silencer was definitely
do you define
Silencer.
that as action?
Let's see. You got Silencer. I know that's an action.
Is
Um, you got a couple. You got a couple. One's called Wild Kate. Is that is
No,
that is
Wild
that?
Kate is not action. Wild Kate is actually Shakespeare.
Oh wow. Okay. I saw the mid. And then you have one called The Employer.
Yeah, I guess no, that's a thriller, I guess.
Well, I think
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes thriller. Yeah, I mean sometimes thrillers and yeah, Lifeless. It's a life. There's you have Lifeless,
Lifeless is
and
not action. Lifeless is actually about contemplation of suicide.
mm,
And it
wow.
won a bunch of awards, and it it was a very important piece. And
How did you get involved with it?
I was cast by this girl who saw my work. We went to, she saw me in an acting class, and then she became a filmmaker. She took acting classes and then she became a filmmaker, and she cast me. And my character was standing on a bridge contemplating, and she ended up surviving, but the other character did not. And the other character did not survive, and it made me decide to survive and move on in her honor. And yeah, so it was a really important piece, and then me moving my life forward. So yeah.
So something like that, a heavy drama like that. I mean, that, I mean, we can go on and talk about that, because I mean, especially short films. It's a short film, and
Yeah.
for a subject like that, it can be a lot more powerful as a short film than a full length feature.
Yeah,
Um,
it too much for a full length feature, for sure. But it was just, it has to deal with social media, comparing people's lives, um, you know, who's better than who, all these different things, and then another person comparing people's lives. Um, my character was like a social media influencer comparing people, and the other person she was a young mother comparing people's lives and where to go. So, yeah.
it sounds, I can tell the tone of your voice that this is something that's probably has crossed your path before, with friends, maybe someone that something like this has happened to. I think we all have actually, but I could tell in your voice that has crossed probably. How
This
did
has definitely happened to someone in my life. Yeah.
I could tell by your voice. Do you when you play this role, when you play a role like this,
Hmm.
especially like you said before about playing someone who's real, like a real life person,
Yeah.
it's gotta be really, man, that's gotta be like the most intense preparation, like especially for a subject like suicide. You got to do your
Yeah.
homework. I mean, and as a let you know that well, I haven't put it on here yet, but I will, just
Hmm.
because I think it's important. But I'll put the National Suicide Hotline. I'm going to put it down in the description
Cool.
box.
Cool.
Yeah, so that people know about that.
Yeah.
I think that it's man, that's got to be really hard to do because you're sitting there, you're trying to stay in the character. Have you ever been in a role like that where you're on set, and you just lose it? You have a moment where you sit there and say, I need a moment, and you go off camera, and you have a quick cry, you put yourself back together. Does that happen a lot to actors when they play such emotional roles and having emotional moments like that?
Those are the moments that you should film.
Wow.
It's not meant to be off camera, it's meant to be on camera. And I feel like that was a really that was a really tough shoot in so many ways because it was so cold. I actually think I got hypothermia on the shoot because we had to shoot really fast. And I didn't care. And I was just like, I don't care. I'm going to freeze. um, I'm going to just like, I just want this shoot. This is like an important shoot. So I'm just going to like let myself be really cold and uncomfortable and, let this happen and let these two characters like go through this together and you know like live through this and just like kind of let it be, and not just just let it happen. So yeah.
It's funny. Other than one movie right off the top of my head, I can think that most of the movies in that kind of subject matter, it always does seem to be at night, and it always seems to be very cold. I would wonder
Hmm.
if that is really how many people, is that the ideal settings to do such a sad act. I would be interesting because I'm thinking about another movie that I reviewed, and I talked to the filmmaker, and it was basically saying this, two people on a bridge, and
Hmm.
they're both dealing with their own inner demons. Um, yeah, that's interesting. That's I
Yeah.
wonder. Uh, but going back to, I mean, and doing a role like that, I mean, before you said, you're able to leave the character behind. Have you ever had it? Have you ever played a role, a part, and if so, who was it? Have you ever played a role where you've had trouble letting go of the character?
Had trouble letting go. I don't think having trouble letting go, but I feel like in theater school, I had a character who lived with me for a little while, and it was like dispersing that, and it was newer in the process. So I was like, oh, this is what acting is. um, and it was my first lead role doing a theater show. And I remember going really far in with my two other actors, because it was me and two male actors, which is interesting because it was kind of a similar situation to Studio City where I was with one, and then you play, you know, like when you're in theater school and stuff, sometimes you play older or whatever. And so I had a situation where I was married and had a lover and this and that, and like we all went so deep into it. And then as we were coming out, it was just like afterwards, all of us were like,
Exhausted.
this.
Yeah.
And, you know, all of us acknowledged it. And it took us some time to, you know, get out of it and pull out of it. And I remember talking about it and moving forward and doing, you know, finding that care afterwards. And I was like, okay, well, this is what acting is. And this is how, you know, we need to process and, you know, pull out and say goodbye, and where is that goodbye, and where do you leave it behind, and all those different things. But I definitely remember that process of being like, okay, this
Was
is
that
the saying goodbye.
so? Has that been the hardest role that you've had to play? I mean, like in terms of emotion, or has it been the true people? You know, the playing a real person, or has that been the hardest the hardest role to let go?
I don't, I think that was the hardest one to let go, um, to pull, because I sunk in, and then, you know, just learning the tools to let out and let go. The hardest role to play, I think that the one that, like, I played, let's see here, Cat in Wild Kate, and that one really like aggravated me. I
How
think
so?
it, I got pushed in very uncomfortable places.
Oh,
And when it gets released, you guys will kind of see, but there were some, I don't want to say, like, it had me think about a lot of things, and opening up things and breaking apart things that I just, it was a very interesting experience. I'm curious when people see it, their thoughts is kind of
it
what
was
I'll.
it was, you know, it took you to some unknown places, but was it something that you were comfortable with? I mean, are you proud of the work that you did? Like, you know, like, okay, I mean, and how far can a director push an artist, you know, an actor? I mean, what is the limitations to a director? Like, I want you to go there, get deeper, go deeper, you know. When is too much? When is it too much? You know, like he's going, you know, he wants to make his movie, you know, tell the story, and it's like, come on, you can do better than that. You can get deep. I mean, especially for an emotional role.
Yeah.
What is a director's role? I mean, how far does he? It's like, okay, I can only go so far. You know, within,
Hmm.
you know, I could. You push me any further than this, and you're not going to get anything. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, it's not fair to the actor. I mean, I know, you know, I know directors want, you know, they want that, you know, they always want that extra push.
Hmm.
But today's directors, do they recognize the limitations now for actors? You know, like, is that a benefit now of, you know, like, you know, Hollywood has like they have you know, the intimate coordinators, and
Hmm.
now they're talking about having like a psychiatrist, a coordinator, or someone on set to help someone with who has to do a mentally hard role.
Hmm.
I mean, is that the reason why we now have these two roles? You know, whether it be as a psychiatrist or the intimacy coordinator, is it because the filmmakers try to push the envelope too much with the actors that they use? Yeah. I'm with
Yeah,
you.
I feel like there's reason. I don't think that, I feel like if you never know when something can get triggered on anyone. I mean, it could be a Christmas movie, and all of a sudden you're like, wait,
Mhm.
I'm triggered. I need to call my psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever. You don't know. And I feel like as an actor or performer, that's self care, and that's an individual person to handle and to take care of. And that's with anyone or anything in life, though. We as performers, though, deal with it all the time, though, because it's our job. We're playing with our emotions constantly. And
Yeah.
so if we hit something and we're like, whoa, I need to go here and I need to handle this. Okay, let me do my job and then I'll handle this at X time. If it's an immediate thing, then we can handle it. If not, then be like, okay, cool. I'm going to write this down in my journal and then I'll handle this after the shoot, or I'll handle this at this time, or I'll handle this like just kind of identify, like where, when, or be like, hey, this got hit. I need to do this. Can I journal it and handle it later? Now, this, that. An emotionally hard rule, like lifeless, for example, I could do because I knew it was something that I was like, for me, I knew that, like, for some reason that area I can handle and I'm fine with it. Whereas other areas, I, at various times, might trigger me or do trigger me, but like
Mhm.
sometimes I could be doing something and you don't know when you're going to get triggered. So I don't know. I
Right.
mean, as far as psychologists and psychiatrists on set,
Sort of iffy, huh?
it's mixed. It's hard because you can't, like, no one can determine anyone's psychology at any time.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know. To me, I think the best thing to do would be to, especially I think directors who have taken a class, who have acted before, I think they're in much better control. As
Mhm.
others, they know when not to push. They know, I think directors that have never acted before or never taken an acting class, those are the ones that you have to be cautious about. They have to sit there and
Yeah.
watch them a little bit more because they really don't know because they had never experienced that. They've always
Yeah.
experienced it so I guess it's one of two thoughts. Like
Yeah.
some directors, they'll understand it and don't push, like, okay, I got the best I could get, at least for today. Maybe we'll come back and revisit it if we have room, if we have time. Versus the directors that are, like a Stanley Kubrick. I mean, we always talk about directors who have gone so far, and he's the poster child. He's
Yeah.
exactly what not to do ever. So uh, let's bring it up let's bring it back to light a little bit. We've gone some heavy areas. Let's bring back a little sunshine to it. Everybody's we're all talking about the cookies. I'm trying to make I'll try to set up a delivery here. Um, let's talk a little bit about your game show. You said that you're hosting a game show in San Diego. So tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, I'm not. I'm no longer. I just finished. So I was just doing like kind of like stand up. I was hosting on a live game show for a little while, for a few months. Over now, and it's wrapped up because there was a lot of back and forth between San Diego, Los Angeles. But yeah, I was doing some hosting on a live game show in between some work and stuff like that. But it ended up being a lot of work, a lot of driving, a lot of going back and forth, but it was fun in the process.
Now,
So yeah.
so they weren't like shooting like 3 shows a day, and then like for 3 days, then you go home for a weekend, or
No, it literally was just a live game show. So it was just live. So
wow,
you show
okay,
up, yeah, it was live. You go and you do like that experience. And I wanted to see what hosting was like and the experience, and was it something I enjoyed? And I feel like it's fun, but I really enjoy the experience of having actual scenes and like the process, like the art process. And I feel like it's more of a someone who, it goes along the lines of someone who enjoys doing stand up and all those different things, which I have done. And I did enjoy doing that, but it's also kind of more along those lines than someone who, I don't know. Yeah, I'm more of a thespian.
Yeah, is comedy harder to do than drama? I mean, I mean, I thought you were really, quite fetching on Studio City. I mean, you were coming in and having a couple of, I love Christina's character. She would just come in there and brighten up the room, and then and Studio City is it has some moments in it. There's some, and it wasn't all doom and gloom. I mean, there's some very funny moments in that series. How do you like doing comedy? I mean, do you prepare for comedy roles different than do you do anything different when preparing for comedic roles more than say drama roles?
uh, yes and no, and depends on what type of comedy, and depends on what kind of drama. So to start off with, no, and then yes in terms of timing.
Yeah, do you feel like you have good comedic timing?
I've been told I have good comedic
Mhm.
timing.
Yeah, yeah, I can sense that. I can sense that. Our friend Stacy walked in, and she has a question for you.
Sure.
In fact, if you guys have questions, go ahead and drop your questions in the chat right now, and we'll feed a couple to Erin before we have to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Our friend Stacy wants to know what role would you most want to play?
Yeah, so I really want to play a romantic interest in some sort of epic trilogy, in something like um like a like a book series that's epic.
Well, I think they already did Outlander, so I'm trying to think of what's out there. But there's a lot of book series out there. Um, Man, there's one series I wish that would be made into a movie.
Mhm.
David Balducci did it. It's called Memory Man. Man, that's a
Okay.
great book. That's a great series. I could see you playing a character named Alex Jameson on there, and
Okay.
she's like, yeah, that would be really cool. I don't know if it's going to be romantic yet because I've only into the third book and there's really not much there.
Okay. Yeah.
But you definitely kick ass in that. She starts off as a journalist, and then by the third book or the fourth book, I think she turns into an FBI agent. So
Oh,
pretty
wow.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more like into, I mean, she could do that. It's more uh like Lord of the Rings type feel.
Yeah. Action. Oh, thank,
Uh
thank, thank God. Thank
like
God you missed
like
out.
one of the elves or something.
I will say this. I'm going to say thank God you were spared. Thank God you were spared from doing the Wheel of Time. So, thank God for that. That's the worst. It's the worst fantasy series I've ever read. Oh my gosh, it was painful. Let's see. Let's see. Stacy comes out. Okay, now we're getting some questions here. Steve says a romantic book series. I think she wants more action with some
It
romance
could
in it.
be like Shakespeare. I really love Shakespeare. I mean, I know I've read almost every single Shakespeare play, and I just this last year did like 5 Shakespeare plays. So, yeah.
Uh, my favorite Shakespeare, without a doubt, and I love the movie, is Much Ado About Nothing. Man,
Ah,
that is awesome. Did you ever
yes.
see the movie with did you ever see the movie with Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson?
No, I'm
W-
guessing she
w-
played Beatrice.
Yes, she
Okay.
played Beatrice. Oh my gosh, you have to watch that movie. That movie is poetry. It's poetry. Let's see. See, let me see. Stacy wants to know, what is your favorite comedy movie to watch and relax?
My
That's a good
favorite
question.
comedy to watch and relax. I
Do
don't
you watch
have
a lot of
one.
movies?
Huh?
Do you watch a lot of movies and TV?
I don't watch enough. I don't watch enough movies and TV. I do like comedies, though. I love romantic comedies.
Hmm.
If I do watch comedies, they're usually romantic comedies because I am a sap and I love love. So, yeah, anything that is a romantic comedy, I would like to watch, unless if it's like super silly, over the top, like people rushing around, like cars crashing, people running around, just doing like where it's just over the top silly. Um,
Right,
I can be down with that. Nothing like, I don't like dirty jokes and stuff like that.
right. Yeah, that's not sexy. That's not as sexy as some people think it is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll let this be our last question.
Okay.
So what do we got? What do you have planned for the rest of 2025, beginning of 2026?
Rest of 2025. Good question. I live day by day. Um, and that's the honest truth. I'm meeting next week about, I have a meeting next week about a movie potentially shooting in end of 2025 or beginning of, or it would be either end of 2025 or in 2026. And then a couple of other movies, but they're all like up in the air on timing. So I'm just kind of, like the Christmas movie, it's like I'm supposed to be filming this, but they just are coming up with the dates. So I don't know exactly what I'm doing because I'm waiting on timing for a bunch of different things.
Is that the case? Always hurry up and wait.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
always hurry up and wait. And then I'm literally just waiting on timing for a bunch of different things.
like we need your we need you to know if you can do the role. Okay, when are we gonna start? Oh well, maybe 3 months from now. It's like what? Um,
Yeah.
uh, all right, Erin. I want to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because I promised you I have you out of here in an hour and a half, and I'm a man of my word. I want to thank the chat so much for coming out and hanging out.
Thank
This
you.
has been a lot of fun. I'm so glad you guys came out for this special matinee show. Definitely a highlight for us here on Eight Questions With. And I want to thank you, Erin Michele, for coming out and sharing your craft and how you work. And
Yes.
I had a great deal of fun, and I hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed being on the show. And we will
Yes.
definitely have you come back. I already know that. I can already see people pinging me saying, "When are you going to have her come back?" Well, maybe when the Christmas movie wraps, we'll have her come back because we'll want to know more about that.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
are you going to be the lead? Are you going to be the leading lady in that in the Christmas movie?
I should be.
Definitely got to put that on my calendar for sure now. Damn sure. And Steve
Yes, right
says,
to the
very interesting
producers.
interview. Yes, and saying nice to meeting you. Yes, thank you guys all so much. We will be back here Saturday night at 9 p.m. and you're more than welcome to come since he said you haven't watched enough movies. We're going to be doing a watch party. We're going to be doing The Hole, came out in 2009 and directed by Joe Dante, who is a very well-known horror film director, and it features a very young Haley Bennett. And you guys are all welcome to come out and hang out with us at 9 p.m. This Saturday. All right, that's it for us. Stay right where you're at for 1 second, Erin. And to the chat, I'm going
Okay.
to say good night, and we'll see you Saturday.
All right.
Peace.
Bye. Thank you.